I'm still pretty new to this whole YouTube business, so when I tell myself to write a little anecdote at the start of these videos, I draw a bit of a blank. But when I spend over an hour trying to write a joke about time travel, it's just a little too ironic. So I'm going to give up. There's no joke here, just a bunch of wasted time. Greetings, I am the Penniless Priest and welcome to Hearthstone Theory. The new year is here and expansion season is over, so I have decided to go back to my roots, mechanic analysis. And what better way to return to this pastime than to examine one of the strongest effects in the game, the extra turn effect. The two cards Open the Waygate and Temporis are the first cards in Hearthstone, and certainly not the last, to implement a take an extra turn mechanic. This ability is obviously crazy, and its strength is clearly why Open the Waygate became one of the few viable quests in Un'Goro. Temporis is less powerful, considering that you need to survive your opponent having this power before you can use it. But these cards cemented this effect's legacy and begged me to ask, how does this mechanic affect my method of analysis, and can my methods adequately assess the cards that have this ability? To answer these questions, first we need to understand what having a turn is worth before we can understand what having an extra turn is worth. At the start of a player's turn, they are given three things: a single card draw, mana equal to n+1, where n is equal to last turn's mana, and third, you are given an attack for each of your minions. These resources are the foundation for all decks, with no exceptions. The mana and cards allow minions to be placed for tempo, and that tempo generates aggression to defeat your opponents. In short, turns make flexibility, flexibility makes tempo, tempo makes aggression, and aggression wins games. With the effect of a turn defined, we can define an extra turn as well. An extra turn gives us the exact same things a normal turn does: a single card, some more mana, and an attack for each minion. So we can look at Time Warp as a card that has the following effect: draw a card, gain 10 mana, and give each of your minions charge. This effect is relatively straightforward: flexibility for the card draw and mana, and aggression for the charge. The main decks that have this extra turn effect either take advantage of one effect or the other, so we will investigate them separately. Take the Exodia combination, also known as the Antonidas Quest Mage deck. The basic combo has existed for years: get Antonidas and 4 Sorcerer's Apprentices on the field, and generate infinite damage. Sorcerer's Apprentice offers increased power and flexibility for each spell cast while it is on the battlefield. Having enough of these boosts renders cards to have a cost of just 1 card, or have a cost of 0 mana. Antonidas provides a gift of 1 card, the Fireball spell, for each spell cast. Since this card replaces the card spent, the cost for playing it is literally 0, both in terms of cards and mana, and thus playing Fireball has infinite power, since power is the strength of a card divided by its cost. However, this combination requires 5 cards and a minimum of 14 mana, all while the opponent works to impede the combo. Open the Waygate is required for this deck, being the only card to give enough mana flexibility in one turn to allow for the whole combo to be played. However, even with this card granting even higher flexibility, the deck must also include as much card draw as possible just because the combination is so limiting. This makes the Quest Mage deck an interesting application of our model of flexibility trickling down to aggression. Produce enough flexibility and you can make infinite aggression. So the extra turn effect generates enough flexibility for Open the Waygate to be a threat. But what about Temporis? Is his effect powerful enough to warrant nervousness? Priests do not have access to this infinite damage engine, so instead Temporis tries to use the other effect, the Give Your Minions Charge effect. Cards like Leroy Jenkins and Kor'kron Elite are prime examples of the charge effect's strength. It effectively gives a minion extra aggression on top of their normal stats. This has allowed cards like this to remain relevant for years of this game. Other cards like Tundra Rhino and the old Warsong Commander show how powerful minions can be when they are gifted charge, so it is important to not underestimate an effect like Temporis' that does exactly this. However, since your opponent gets this benefit before you, Temporis is made incredibly dangerous to play. Before we go further, let's break down exactly what Temporis does. We can translate the card's effect into this: your opponent can gain 10 mana, draw a card, and give his minions charge next turn. Then, you can gain 10 mana, draw a card, and give your minions charge next turn. As such, this card can only be played when your opponent can't maximize aggression, since like we said, aggression wins games. This brings us back to our model: flexibility makes tempo, tempo makes aggression. Temporis allows the tempo to turn into aggression immediately, so the goal is to minimize your opponent's tempo gain while maximizing yours. So we need to minimize their flexibility. This can be done by, for example, controlling your opponent's deck such that they run out of cards in hand. Since they'll no longer have the flexibility, your opponent will no longer be able to stop you. Easy game. Except no. If you reach the point in the game where your opponent has run out of flexibility, then the game is nearly over. Either they've generated enough aggression to defeat you, in which case Temporis won't save you, or they haven't, in which case you shouldn't need Temporis to finish off your opponent, since you will have the ability to generate more aggression and they will not. If Temporis works, then you have already won. If you haven't won yet, then Temporis gives your opponent victory, all because of it gifting this aggression to your opponent. Open the Waygate gets a C, being a fair challenge for obtaining a strong effect. Temporis sadly gets an F, for just being too dangerous to play almost all of the time. It's clear that the extra turn effect is a very powerful one, which is why cards like this hide the effect behind large hurdles. A quest in one case and your opponent having the effect in another. It's honestly quite impressive and exciting that Blizzard is attempting to balance a power this great. And it's for that reason that I'm excited to see more cards with effects like this in the future. Until then, let's just appreciate how much power is given to us every time the words "your turn" appear on your computer screen. Thank you for watching my first video of the new year. I'll be attempting to release more videos like this one until the next Hearthstone expansion, and definitely after that as well. So if you don't want to miss them, be sure to like and subscribe. Remember to smile on the just, and I will see you next time.